Amid a critical shortage, pandemic ventilator inventor makes his design open source.
Here's a summary of the article.
Retired respiratory therapist John Strapath said he made the decision after failing to get any kind of serious consideration to make the life-saving device from federal governments in Canada or the United States. Strapath is making his design open source at a critical time, as hospitals brace for a potential surge of Canadian COVID-19 cases and with it a cruel reckoning. There may be not enough ventilators to go around if the infection rate spirals out of control like it has in Italy or Spain. They're all going to have PTSD from this. John Strapath shows his pandemic ventilator prototype in Action 129. Dozens of people who fall into that category also have written to Strapath, asking whether they can have his design to build their own ventilator, or in some cases buy his prototype outright so they can bring it to hospital in case they get infected. Strapath said while his $500 design may not offer the same standard of care as the current $25,000 designs used at hospitals, his machine would save lives, even in a blackout. While federal governments in Canada and the United States might not be receptive to his invention, Strapath said he'll keep trying. Strapath hopes with the design freely available to those with the right credentials, someone somewhere can use it and hopefully save lives.
This post received a score of 99,200, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
University of FL also open-sourced a ventilator design that uses parts obtained from Home Depot and an Arduino.
This is actually pretty brilliant. I've seen a lot of pie-in-the-sky designs in the last couple weeks, but this looks like it followed an actual engineering design process and was designed by actual biomedical engineers. When things get really bad, I just hope that these are the designs that rise to the top.
Best one I've seen is this one on Sky. Uses off-the-shelf components and a hospital's already readily available compressed air supply. It looks like the ventilator in the link above also uses compressed air.
That's excellent. Impressive that Sony has already picked it up, too. One of my primary concerns for bottlenecks has been a low supply of pressure sensors. Hopefully folks are able to work around that with things like these designs that can take advantage of regulated pressurized air supply lines. Looks like air compressors may be in high demand, too, if stuff like this picks up.
Hospitals tend to have massive air compressors somewhere that feed the entire hospital because of just how commonly compressed air is needed and redundancy requirements. As you said, this system, as far as I can tell, doesn't need a pressure sensor. Simply knowing the rate of airflow into the box from to regulated input allows it to calculate a VT.
I do building control systems. Almost all hospitals have compressors because they power the actuators for their air handlers. Now most are switching to electric, so the giant compressors aren't used as much load as they are used to having.
When I was still doing HVAC, I couldn't stand air controls. There was always some random-as leak in the tiny copper lines or holes in the plastic lines. It's a brilliant design for its time, though.
We mostly use pneumatic actuators in the oil and gas business. But there are 600-volt Rotic valves all over too.
There's also this low-cost one that some students created at Rice. They tried to make the documents available but are having resistance from the university. This is a great group of DIY engineers coming up with some solutions.
Hackaday had a nice article about how ventilators work, what they do, and why they are far more complex than just blowing air in a hose. Opening square bracket. TLDR, your lungs are made up of millions of little balloons, and if you accidentally overinflate them they explode and make all the other tiny balloons more sensitive. There are about 500 different ways the capacity of those tiny balloons can change, so the ventilator had to constantly be monitored and adjusted as those factors vary. Basically, imagine trying to bake a cake by adding all of the ingredients inside the oven simultaneously, but the oven is constantly changing temperatures and you can't be sure when or how the oven is changing because your measurements are between 5 and 10 minutes old. Oh, and it takes several days to bake this kind of cake, and the gas and electric company occasionally simply stop supplying you with gas and electricity.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.